Most people are still using AI the wrong way. They type into a chat box, then they copy and paste it somewhere, and they're calling that productivity. That's not how I work. I actually use Claude Code, and in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what it is, how to set it up, and how I use it to build. So everything is going to be listed in this video, and I don't think you want to miss this one. So what is Claude Code? Claude Code is actually Anthropic's AI coding agent, but no. Now that you've had coding, you're already probably thinking it the wrong way. You cannot only use Claude Code for coding, and I think that's where most people miss it, because it is actually an AI agent. It's a coding agent, but it is an AI agent, so it can do other things aside coding task. I mean, it can read your entire project, it can check every folder, every file on your system, and it works in real time. So I don't just use it for coding, I use it for content creation, I use it for automation, I use it for clients project. I even use it for my own final year project because I'm a student of the University of Lagos. So Claude Code is actually helping me build out a prototype that I'm supposed to present for my final year project. And I'm going to show you how I'm using Claude Code for everything I do. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. Yes, so you can use Claude Code from the desktop app. If you come over to the desktop app, I'm currently in the desktop app. It looks so much like the web, but this is installed on my MacBook, as you can see. So if you come over, you can see Claude Charts, you can see Cowork, and you can see Claude Code. I'm going to do a separate video about Cowork because, I mean, Cowork and Claude Code kind of work the same way. In fact, let me even touch Cowork. So basically, what all of this is just Claude's interface, and what Cowork is you working with Claude on your desktop. So the way this works is, or the way or what makes this special is the fact that now, instead of you having to create folders, instead of you having to set up folder structure inside of your computer or your desktop, Claude can actually do all of that for you, and you just need to direct it, and it's just going to keep executing everything you need to do. Let me give you an instance. I have a work folder that I always use, or I always make as a point of reference anytime I want to start working in Claude. Let me show you what that looks like. As you can see here, it is written here work folder, and this work folder is basically a folder that lives on my work on my system. As you can see, it has workflows, it has Unilag, it has tools, it has road to 100 million, it has personal OS. All of these are basically different folders I'm using as context for my Claude Code. And if you open everything, it has something there. Claude has already created its own readme.md file, basically what it needs to know about each folder. I'm going to actually give you a detailed setup about what readme.md is. In fact, if you need any of all of these details, check the link down below. I have everything attached with a step-by-step setup guide in the community. So just check the link below and just get right into it. So all of this folder structure, I know it might look scary, but have no fear. I'm going to explain everything. So now let's go back to how to use Claude Code. You can use Claude Code from the app. As you can see, I already have some. I'm actually a very, very new Claude user. I started using Claude in February. My initial coding agent was Cursor. If you don't want to use Claude, you can also use Cursor or Anti-Gravity or Codex. They are all coding agents, and they can do superb jobs all around. So I just kind of prefer Claude because, I mean, the Opus models are actually really insane, and they released a model called Mythos I think about 2 weeks ago, but they had to take it down because it was causing too much problem on the internet. But anyways, you can use Claude Code on the desktop app. I mean, it is still going to check your folder, but genuinely, I'm going to leave Claude Code inside because I don't like the desktop app. I like using it in a different place, and I'll show you how I actually set that up. So there's a different way you can use Claude Code. That is using Claude Code with VS Code. Now, what is VS Code? For those that are non-technical, VS Code is a coding IDE, and what this means is just basically an environment where you'll be able to visualize folders on your desktop. Let me open my VS Code for you. If you want to get VS Code, you can also use the link down below. I've already attached the link, but you can just check whatever search engine you use. Click on VS Code. click the first site to see this is what you're supposed to see, or this should be your main site. Then download for whichever system you use. I use a Mac, so I will click on download for Mac. If you're using a Windows, please make sure you're downloading for the specified version of your system. So I have VS Code already installed, so I'm going to skip this step. But once you have VS Code, this is what you're going to see immediately you open it up. You're going to see whether to create a new file, or open an existing folder on your system, or clone a Git repository, connect to or generate a new workspace. Now, all of these things, if you're not technical, might be new to you, but I want you to not have any form of fear or worry. This is just the foundational level. And what all of these things is, it just basically connects to your system, in the sense that if you click on a new file, that means you're trying to create a new file in your system, like in your on your computer. If you click on open, it basically opens the folder structure or Finder, because Mac uses Finder, but it just shows you your file basically, and you can open any folder that you have already installed on your desktop. You feel me? Once you already have this interface, the first thing you need to do is actually get Claude inside VS Code, because now you just have VS Code interface. We don't know if Claude is going to be there. So there's this thing like Claude makes Anthropic made Claude available. The way we have it on the web is the way we have it on the desktop, is the way we can use it in Claude Code via an extension, and we can integrate that into VS Code by coming over here. This is called extensions. So once you click on it, just click search for Claude, and the first one that comes out, the one with that is verified by Anthropic, you're going to click on it and you're going to install it inside of VS Code. And the moment you install Claude inside your VS Code, you're going to see it here. You're going to see one little icon here that just basically tells you that Claude has been installed in your VS Code. Then once you open that up, you can close this terminal here. Now you have Claude inside of your VS Code. The way this works is just the same way it is going to work on the desktop app. You have Claude here, but what makes this special is that now Claude can now talk inside of your folders. And if I open a folder, let's take for instance, I want to just open a new folder and I want to call that folder Mustang. You can create that folder now and I'll open the folder. So what basically just happened is me just creating a folder on my desktop called Mustang. I mean, if I search for Mustang, I'm still going to see that folder there. As you can see, created today by 8:15. I mean, it's currently 8:15. I'm recording this video at night, but yeah, you can see the folder right there. And if I should open it, it will actually take me to the folder. I can bring the folder over to this place. Hold on. And voila, here is where the Mustang folder lies. And I just created that using VS Code. Now let's actually go back to VS Code. So what this basically just means, see, make a Claude.md file for instructions. Claude will read it every single time. Now that is one superpower that Claude actually has. This is actually the file that makes Claude 10 times better out of the box. So it is called the Claude.md and it sits in your project root. Like this area is called your project root, and Claude reads it in every single session. So if you want to create a Claude.md file, if you want to know how to create a Claude.md file, you can basically create a skill for it, or once you start a conversation, Claude is going to actually create the Claude.md file on its own. You understand? So if I want to do anything in this place, I can just tell it to create a Claude.md file for yourself, because you will be my all of the. Equip yourself with all of the necessary details inside the file. So now we're actually going to see Claude. And oh yes, one more thing I need to also talk about, this aspect of the Claude Code. So as you can see here, there's ask before edit, there's edit automatically, there's plan mode, there's auto mode, and there's bypass permissions. These are basically all of the modes that you can have Claude on when you're using Claude Code. So ask before edit is just basically Claude going to ask you every single time before it does anything. Edit automatically is when Claude actually just edit all of the things automatically. It is still not bypass all of the restrictions, but it is going to do some things on its own. But the mode I use the most is plan mode, because here is where you can actually have like a back and forth conversation with Claude, and it is going to understand what it wants to do for you. So I already put it on plan mode, and as you can see, Claude is actually having this back and forth with me. See, he said Mustang is currently empty and isn't a Git repo. Confirm it is true, blah, 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 blah. Well, what is Mustang directly actually for? So now Claude actually wants to understand what I want to do so that it can fill in more context inside of this directory. And just like that, as you can see, I've not even written any line of code, and I'm already using Claude in Claude Code. And what makes this even crazier is that the further you go with it, the better it becomes, because that Claude.md file is always going to be referenced, and Claude is not going to forget whatever context that it holds inside of that folder. So let's say you're trying to build a web app and you want to start, you can literally start from an empty folder and discuss with Claude on what you want to build. And just like that, once Claude has enough context, it is going to start building everything out for you. We're actually going to do a live build very, very soon. But yeah, I'm just actually showing you how you'd use Claude Code compared to how you use it on the desktop. And it just makes your work easier and faster. So just think of it as giving Claude a brain transplant, basically, with the Claude.md file. So every time you start a new session, instead of it starting from zero, it already knows your business. So Claude Code isn't just for experienced developers. If you're learning to build, this is the best teacher you would ever have, because right now, Claude is an expert in any field. You just have to direct it on what you want to do, and it is going to execute it for you. And me, I went from knowing what an API was to building production AI systems for my clients and in my agency, using Claude Code as a massive part of that. The people who learn how to use these tools now are the ones that are going to be running businesses in the next 2 to 3 years. I mean, I'm a living proof of that. I literally started my agency last year, and I've already amassed quite a huge amount of wealth in just a year. Not even 2 years. It's not up to 2 years, just a year. And you can do that as well. So if you want to actually know how to do this, if you want to know how to start your AI agency, or you're looking for how to monetize your skill in AI in 2026, subscribe, like this video so that more people can see this content. Follow me, join the community down below, use the link, any of the links down below, and all of the setup guides to actually set up Claude to make it times 10 powerful and use it just like I do in my agency is right in the community as well. So join the community down below and grab all of the free resources, bro. Like, I literally have everything there for you. So without having to say too much, I'm going to prepare another video where I'm going to do like a live build using Claude Code for you. So let's stay tuned for that, and that's going to be the end of today's video. See you guys in a bit.